the dude on screen, but at home he's a proud father to 3 daughters, Isabel, Jessica, Jessie, and Haley. Though Jeff came from a Hollywood dynasty and hoped his kids might follow suit, none of them became actresses. Being a celebrity's child has its perks, but also heavy expectations. In this video, we'll meet the Bridges daughters and explore how they built lives entirely their own, far from the Hollywood spotlight. Number 3. Isabel Bridges, Boetia, born on August 6, 1981. If you search for her name, the first thing that comes up is daughter of Jeff Bridges. And while that's true, it's also the least interesting thing about her. Her story isn't about riding on her family's coattails. It's about hitting rock bottom and building a ladder for other women to climb out with her. Growing up, Isabel's life was shaped by her family's creative energy, but a huge shift happened when she was 13. After the terrifying 1994 Northridge earthquake shook Los Angeles, the Bridges family packed up and moved to the quiet green hills of Montecito. This wasn't just a change of scenery. It was a deliberate choice to step away from the heart of Hollywood, to prioritize family and a different way of life. This move likely planted the seeds for Isabel's future work, which is all about finding peace and connection in our everyday lives. She also grew up watching her parents, Jeff and Susan Gueston, in a relationship that was more than just a Hollywood marriage. She's talked about how much she admired their sweet relationship. Not just that they loved each other, but that they genuinely liked each other and made time for one another. This became her blueprint for what a real partnership looked like. Isabel went off to Pepperdine University, where she met her own life partner, Brandon Boche. They were classic college sweethearts. They got married in 2007 at her family's home in Santa Barbara, on a date, July 7, 2007, that she had apparently dreamed of since high school. Years later, she'd post on Instagram, 16 years ago, I married my best friend. We made a life, babies and magic together. I'm so in love. They had 2 beautiful children, a daughter named Grace and a son named Benjamin. They settled in the Bay Area, and from the outside, it looked like a perfect life. But on the inside, Isabel was struggling. Badly. Motherhood, which she thought would be all joy, brought on a crushing wave of depression and anxiety. This is where her story truly begins. She felt immense pressure to be the perfect mom, to have it all together. She was trapped in what she called a perfectionistic shell. The turning point came during a parent-child class. One day, another mother in the group just broke down. She was raw, honest, and vulnerable about her own struggles. Hearing that, Isabel said it cracked something open in her. For the first time, she let herself cry, letting go of the need to look good. In that moment of shared vulnerability, she had an epiphany. She realized that healing wasn't in pretending to be perfect, but in embracing what she now calls the messy middle, the real, complicated, and often difficult truth of life and motherhood. She said, I learned that my medicine is in my mess. This personal breakdown became her professional breakthrough. She decided to dedicate her life to helping other mothers navigate these same challenges. She became an empowerment coach, creating safe spaces where women could be seen, heard, and supported. Her mission was simple, but profound: to help the moms feel nourished on the inside so they have a wellspring to give them. She knew you can't pour from an empty cup, but she didn't stop there. To reach more women, she founded the Mothers Empowerment Membership Trademark, a global online community where mothers can connect and support each other. She became the CEO of her own powerful movement, one born from her own pain, and then came a project that beautifully tied her new path back to her roots. She had an idea for a children's book, inspired by the imaginative play dates she had with her dad as a kid. She told her father the concept, and his eyes lit up. He told her, "We should turn this into a book, and I will illustrate it." That collaboration became the best-selling children's book, Daddy-Daughter Day. It's a heartwarming story about a girl named Belle and her dad's adventures, a tribute to their own bond. It became their special Daddy-Daughter project, a full-circle moment where her past and present merged. The book wasn't just a sweet story. It was a way to encourage other families to find magic and simple everyday connection. Today, Isabel also hosts the Mother's Empowerment podcast, spreading her message of self-love and community even further. She's been featured on The Today Show and in People magazine, not just as Jeff Bridges' daughter, but as a leader and a voice for mothers everywhere. She took her famous name and built a legacy of her own, one rooted in empathy, vulnerability, and the power of women supporting women. Number 2, Jessie Bridges. Born on June 14, 1983. Of the 3 sisters, Jessie was the only one to professionally enter the entertainment industry, but she didn't follow her dad onto the movie set. Instead, she picked up a guitar. Growing up, music was everywhere. The family would have impromptu jam sessions, putting on shows and singing and dancing. Her dad, a passionate musician himself, taught Jessie how to play the guitar when she was around 13 or 14. She fell in love with it, feeling a natural connection that brought her immense joy. Her ears were filled with the sounds her parents loved. Old-school rock and roll from the 60s and 70s, which would later shape her own, folky, Americana vibe. But even with all that encouragement, Jessie was terrified to pursue music professionally. She had a deep fear that turning her greatest passion into a job would somehow kill the joy it brought her. On top of that, there was the giant shadow of her last name. Growing up with a famous father gave her a different perspective on fame. She saw it up close, and she didn't want it. She said fame was almost a deterrent for her. She valued her privacy above all else. So, for a long time, she ran in the other direction. She went to culinary school and worked in professional kitchens. She worked at radio stations. She even worked as her father's assistant on his film sets. These weren't just random jobs. They were detours that allowed her to see the world from different angles and ultimately realized that she couldn't outrun her true calling. The moment of truth came when she realized that her fear of losing her passion was the very thing holding her back from it. So, she decided to face it. In 2010, she quietly released a 4-song, self-titled EP. Her goal wasn't to become a star. It was simply to experience being in a recording studio. Her big moment came a few years later. While working as her dad's assistant on a film in Vancouver, she fell in with a group of local musicians. Together, they started working on a song that would become the title track of her debut album, Let It Breathe. In that collaboration, she found a sound that felt completely her own. It was a mix of country, folk rock, and blues, a twangy vibe, as she called it, that surprised even her. She knew she was onto something special, so she decided to stay in Vancouver and record the entire album. Released in 2013, Let It Breathe was her official arrival as an artist. It was a beautiful, soulful record about finding yourself and forging your own path, and she made it on her own terms. When her team suggested releasing it as 2 smaller EPs, she pushed back. She insisted on it being a full 11-song album, a complete body of work that represented her journey. It was a sign of her growing confidence as an artist. What's truly beautiful is how her musical journey intertwined with her father's. Jeff, seeing his daughter's talent and passion, invited her to tour with his band, the Abiders. She would open his shows, playing her own self-penned songs with just her acoustic guitar. She described the experience as a blast and so much fun. This wasn't a case of a famous dad giving his daughter a handout. It was a genuine collaboration. They would jam together, sing duets on stage like Graham Nash's Teacher Children, and support each other. Jeff has said, "Jessie, my middle daughter, we play music all the time. That's our connection." Music became their shared language, a bridge between a father and daughter, navigating the unique world they lived in. Jessie found a way to share her art while still protecting her privacy. After her initial album release, she talked about releasing singles independently, keeping things low-key. Her online presence is minimal, a reflection of her long-held desire to live a life outside the intense glare of the spotlight. Her Instagram bio today still says it all. Music is the thing that makes me feel the most alive. She didn't need to be a superstar. She just needed to be true to her music and herself. Number 1. Haley Bridges. Born on October 17, 1985, Haley didn't go into acting or music. Instead, she found her creative calling in shaping the world around her, literally. She became a high-end interior designer, and her story is a masterclass in building a brand from the ground up, with passion and precision. Like her sisters, Haley's creative spirit was nurtured from a young age. She recalls that when her family would look at new houses, she would already be fantasizing about how she would redesign every single room. The family's move to Santa Barbara was especially significant for Haley. That beautiful coastal city became her home base, the backdrop for her life, and eventually the heart of her business. But her path wasn't just about having a good eye. Haley was academic and driven. First, she went to Loyola Marymount University and graduated magna cum laude with a degree in English. But that old passion for design never went away. So she went back to school and earned a master's degree in interior architecture from a prestigious joint program between UCLA and Cal Poly Pomona. Armed with serious credentials, she went to work for SFA Design, a luxury firm in Santa Barbara, where she cut her teeth on high-end residential and hotel projects. But she had an entrepreneurial itch. In 2013, she opened her own furniture boutique called Industry Home, where she sold custom pieces and developed her unique style. A year later, in 2014, she took the ultimate leap and launched her own firm, Haley Bridges Design. Her philosophy is right there in her tagline, Comfortable, Curated California. She blends warmth and elegance to create spaces that feel both sophisticated and deeply personal. As she puts it, her mission is to make a home a haven of health and happiness that truly reflects the people who live there. Her signature style is timeless, mixing crisp white walls and neutral textures with bold tribal and animal prints. She's a master at layering vintage rugs and mixing metals to create spaces that feel collected and soulful. Her portfolio is stunning, from luxurious French-inspired retreats in Montecito to bright, airy sanctuaries for young families. But her success is about more than just great taste. It's about professionalism. She has a meticulous 7-step process for every client, from initial meetings and conceptual designs to managing all the purchasing, construction, and final installation. She's a creative, but she's also a savvy business owner who sought out mentorship from programs for female entrepreneurs to build a solid foundation for her company. And just like with Jessie, Haley's professional life has a beautiful connection with her father. Jeff Bridges has proudly said, "She's a wonderful interior designer, and we work together on houses." It's another example of that incredible family synergy, where they find ways to blend their worlds and collaborate. But the most powerful story about Haley and her father has nothing to do with design. It's a story of love, resilience, and pure determination. In August 2021, Haley was set to marry her longtime love, Justin Shane. But this happy time was clouded by a terrifying reality. In late 2020, her father had been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma. While undergoing chemotherapy, he contracted COVID-19. The combination was devastating. He was in the hospital for weeks, struggling to breathe, his body weakened by the cancer treatment and the virus. Through it all, Jeff had one goal that kept him fighting. He was going to walk Haley down the aisle. He worked with a trainer day after day, pushing himself through grueling physical therapy just to regain the strength to stand and walk. He was determined. As he later recounted, "Finally one day I said, 'Maybe I can do it, you know?' And it turns out, I not only got to walk her down the aisle, but I got to do the wedding dance. That was terrific." That moment at Haley's wedding was more than just a tradition. It was a symbol of everything: a father's love, a family's strength, a man's will to live for the people he holds dear. For Haley, having her dad by her side, strong enough to give her away after everything he'd been through, was the greatest gift of all. Today, Haley continues to live in Santa Barbara, close to her parents, running her thriving design firm. She has built a life and a career that is entirely her own, yet still deeply connected to the family that shaped her. Their journeys remind us that no matter who your parents are, you have the power to write your own script. And when you do it with heart, focusing on what you truly care about, the results can be magical.